Hey guys, it's Mai Soliman here, IBF International Super Flyweight Champion. I'm here in Cairo, Egypt with Enigma Magazine. Born in Cairo, went to primary school here for a little bit, all the way up to year 4, and eventually moved abroad to Sydney when I was about 9 or 10 years old. When I was in Egypt already, I was into swimming and running, so I do have a bit of athletic background. I was always into sport throughout my schooling years and everything, and then one day I actually came across a movie. It was $1 Million Baby, and I did watch the Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, and I also wanted to do something different at the time, and I did have a friend that also was boxing. Just asked him, can I join you, and started doing it in secret, didn't tell my parents, and got hooked into it and started. So it was about maybe 2 months in that I decided to tell them I wanted to box. They didn't know that I was doing it already, so sort of went out there and just told them, hey, I've been boxing for 2 months and do you mind? And then obviously they were against it for a little bit, thinking I'm a girl, no one in their family has even done this before. But yeah, they realized I was so passionate about it, and they just jumped on board with me and supported me since then. I was in year 11, so I would say I was about 18 years old. I had my first fight just after I finished high school. So all up, I would say it's been 9 years I've stepped foot into the ring maybe, and had my first amateur fight. It was a bit scary for a girl who was quite taller than me, heavier than me in weight, had these tattoos all over her. And I was just this skinny young girl. And then I was just questioning myself as before I stepped into the ring. And from there, as soon as I jumped in the ring, I was like, just went too fast, it went too quick. And I just thought, oh, is that it? Like, I want to do it again. I just got hooked into it. So once I started that first fight, I had a few amateur fights from there. I would say I had about 22 amateur fights. And then there was a bit of a break, and then COVID happened. And then obviously I realized that my style has suited more to the professional than the amateur style, because the amateur style gives you about maybe 3 to 4 rounds of 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And professionally, you get to go longer, between 10 to 12 rounds. So eventually I realized with my coach that we are more suited to the professional style, and I get to represent myself on a global stage, represent both countries where I'm from. So from there, I just decided to turn pro. First things first, you got to make sure you have the right team around you, from coaches to people that are supporting you, friends and family, because that is pretty much the base of everything. But challenges, there's heaps of challenges always on the daily. One thing was when I think was it my 4th pro fight, I wanted to do something different. We are women in the professional, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, we fight 2-minute rounds in professional boxing. So you get 10 rounds, 2 minutes for, like, let's say a huge title fight. For the men's, it's completely different. You get 12 rounds of 3 minutes. And I wanted to do the same thing as the men's over in Australia. So we had a bit of a backlash from that. And I just decided this is what I want to do. I want to show why we us women can do that as well. So we put it out there, and they said no, and then eventually we had someone make it happen for us. It did make the news for that one, because we were pretty much first to hold the 3-minute rounds. So yeah, that was a bit challenging in my career. But again, it's just challenges are going to come every day, and it's just about having perseverance and making sure you just got to keep going. Look, in any fight, obviously, you're bound to get hit regardless how long you've been doing it. But it's not a nice feeling, because you might start overthinking, did she actually got me? But it's just about staying more focused and locked in during that time. Like, you might end up in a situation where there's 2-3 punches that landed back to back on you, but you just need to not lose your temper or your cool, because again, there's a job at hand that you got to be doing, and that's obviously staying locked in, staying focused. And that's fine. Cool, she managed to get 2 or 3 shots at me. Maybe change a little thing, step back a little bit, angle out, or use your jab a little bit more to make sure she change up the range between you and your opponent. It's just something that, obviously it takes time to get used to. I think, like I said before, once you start boxing, you either know this is for you or it's not. It's a game where it's about toughness, about resilience, and you just know what it's at hand. Again, it's not for everyone, and that's fine, but you can either be the hammer or you can be the nail. And obviously, I choose to be the hammer, but again, sometimes you could end up being the nails. Manifestation for me is the number one key. Anything I do, I think what I do within myself, I do feel like I need to make sure that this has already happened. It's just about setting a rule within myself, a mindset. Like, let's say I'm talking about the last fight that I just had, and I know it was one of the biggest fights for myself. We had me and the other girl were 2 of the best And knowing me going into this fight, I had to remind myself every single day from the time that I've woken up that this is already my win, this is already mine, and just constant repeating. It's almost like you're talking to yourself and always constantly reminding yourself as to why and how I've won this fight. It's taken me to levels where I've also had dreams that I've seen how this fight goes in that way. It's almost like you become delusional that people don't, obviously not everyone's gonna see what you are envisioning. You just gotta envision it, believe it, and bring it out to life. Because at the end of the day, no one else will do the work for you or believe in yourself as much as you do. Let's say a fight is given to us about maybe between 8 to 12 weeks. So we do have a time. Also with boxing, there's one thing, we don't really have an off season. So as a professional boxer, you're constantly needed to be training throughout the whole year, at least keeping a good base of your fitness, keeping on top of your conditioning, your skills and whatnot. So, but we are given like at least between a window of 8 to 12 weeks that signed a contract for this fight, and this is the date for it. Yeah, so I make sure, obviously from routine, my strength and conditioning to my boxing to a lot of running. I do swim as well to help with my conditioning of my fighting. Also getting on top of your recovery, your rehab, seeing a physiotherapist. A lot of these things, you make sure you're keeping in check. And at the end of the day, the most number one rule for me is mental performance. At the end of the day, you can train your body as much as you want. If you don't train that, that's the first thing that will go out in the fight. I'm always reminded not to wake up too early because I wake up super early all the time. So I'll have maybe pancakes, a good healthy juice, and I'll maybe go for a nice walk. Just let the legs loose a little bit, maybe do a little small hit out on the pads to make sure that everything's okay. And then I'll go and get my hair braided a few hours prior to the fight, just so for the fight night. And then I would like to meditate a little bit, remind myself who I am, remind myself how far I've come, and remind why I am winning tonight. So once that's done, I go home and have a nap. Get up, make sure I've got everything in my bag and head to the venue. I like seeing my friends. I like some good food. I love the beach. I love anything by the water. Family for me is my backbone to everything. I feel like everything that I've done so far is all with their help and their support. My mom helps me so much with everything. My dad's always there supporting me, my sisters, my husband, my partner, he just supports me all the way. He's always in my corner with me. When you have that support, I always remind myself, I'm not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for the people that have been there from the start and have supported me. Like in the last fight, I just had this one thought in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to let them down. For me, that just made me a little bit emotional in the fight, and so I felt like this fight needed to end early. I met him when I was boxing, still fighting as an amateur. Obviously I told him, I think he just thought probably not doing it too serious, but then it's just a few years down, he realized like I am taking this seriously, and this is what I love. It's part of my identity. It's my passion. Grateful to have him around. He's very supportive on everything that I do. He's pretty much as involved as much as I am and invested into what I am doing. My proudest moments, obviously, everything that I've achieved so far. Seeing my last fight, getting the IBF International, ranking myself on such a high scale, winning in such a spectacular way. I went up against a girl who was born into the sport. Her dad's a famous fighter. Just cementing my name as Mai Soliman. Obviously breaking barriers with the 3-minute rounds previously and done it twice. Sometimes you forget to give yourself credit of everything you've done. You overlook them and you just sit back and sort of look at the view that you've created for yourself. There's a lot of things. Boxing teaches you to be patient, to be resilient, to be strong, to overcome a lot of adversity, and definitely has taught me a lot. So many things have happened in my life, and I feel like this has been an outlet for everything and just giving me that space when I needed the most. I've always recommended women to be able to enter any martial arts, if it's boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, something that it gives women confidence. Sometimes I come across young girls that are especially girls that are in school, very shelled up, very shy, very not confident within themselves and just can't seem to find who they are. And I always do recommend them to go to some sort of martial art to try it out. And kid you not, they open up, they start to become more confident within themselves. Especially with young girls, there seems to be a lot of bullying happening around, and either changes the person to stop them from bullying others or to stand up for themselves. And in both ways it works. And even for, it doesn't have to be just younger girls, for older women as well. Just having that confidence within themselves is such an important thing that to be carrying around. And also it gives you something to learn, like just sweating as well and doing a sport, you're actually learning a skill. You're able to defend yourself in any situation. And it does help in so many ways. There's a few things I always like to take one step at a time and work on what is exactly in front of me. But being here, I've got one dream of mine, and that's me fighting here in Egypt. And not just fighting in Egypt, but I'd love to be able to fight in front of the pyramids and create history by doing that. I feel like there's never been a combat event in front of the pyramids. I feel like that would be the first biggest thing ever. It's like almost like Rumble in the Jungle, back in Muhammad Ali days. This will create history for Egypt and the martial arts world in general. I'm just excited to be back in Egypt. I just feel like every time I come back, I feel fresh. I've got a big 2026 next year. Just about right now, I've had already 4 fights this year, won all of them by knockout, so which is good. So I've had a big, heavy year, a bit taxing on the body and the mind. So now I'm training, but we're just chilling a little bit. But yeah, just planning a big year ahead for next year. World title shots, defenses, and see what it's in the making for that. Food, culture, the people. I just feel like Egyptians have such a good sense of humor compared to the rest of the world. So it's just something different about everyone. It's just I would say the soul of this country. It gives a different vibes. Hence why I love coming back. Bechamel, molokhia. What else? Koshari. I don't get to eat that stuff all the time. One, it's not so available around so much where I'm from. Two, I'm always cutting weight. I'm always I'm on diet, for my fights. So for me, this is amazing.